Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. We are joined once again by Mark from Qualatex. Mark, thank you for coming in.
Merry Christmas, Greg.
Thank you very much. Now, Mark is here and he's going to show us how to make these amazing designs today. So, let's have a look. But first of all, though, let's take the hats off because they're getting a bit hot. I don't know about you. Yeah. So, what are you going to show us first?
Fantastic. So we've got a few different designs today. This is a nice frozen design, but could be used in normal icicles or just Christmassy and cold and all exciting like that. So to start with, I've created a 5 balloon cluster base. Yep. With a little water weight in there. And I've double stuffed these. Okay. So these are 5-inch balloons of a colour inside another 5-inch balloon. Okay. All will be explained as we go through the design.
All right. Now clusters. We do have a BMTV balloon basics on how to make a cluster. It should appear on the screen right now over here somewhere. But carry on.
And then to make a really nice base, what we're going to do, I'll put that to the side for a second. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to use Qualatex silver 13-inch tapers. Yeah. And again, these don't have valves and they don't float on their own volume of helium. Yeah. So these are air-filled and they are heat-sealed. Okay. So again, I think we've got pre-basics on how to heat seal.
Oh yeah, we have a BMTV balloon basics on that as well.
Fantastic. So I've got 6 of them here and I'm just going to cluster these together. And then once I've got them clustered together, I'm going to twist them as we would a 6 balloon cluster.
Okay.
Yep. Pull the next down to the base. And then I'm going to lay that in to our cluster and tie it in with a couple of the necks. So a little bit difficult for you to see this bit.
Yeah, so you don't have to do that in a particular way. You have to have 3 on one side, 3 on the other. You just shove them in, get the 2 necks, tie them in, and then you sort them out afterwards. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's absolutely fine. So once they're in, because we've got 5 balloons together in the cluster, these follow the 5 spaces that you've got here. Yeah,
that's very nice.
Which means that you end up with a central taper, which we can attach the next bit of the design to.
I see, okay.
But I actually that's just an interesting design piece for centerpieces on its own table. You could change it to summer themes, and these could be leaf colours, but just an interesting geometry of shapes. Yeah. So I've pre-inflated frozen bubble. Yep. And I've attached it with a little attachment point using balloon stretchy tape from Click Click.
Of course.
And then attach it to a 6-pointed snowflake star.
Yeah, okay.
So what I'm going to do, we're going to need a box down there.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Thank you very much.
Put that on there.
What we're going to do is just attach these 2 points together, and I'm just going to tie them as a cluster. All taper balloons are over heat sealed at the end, which allows you to just create knots in them. A little bit more fiddly with a 13-inch. See, if I really was an elf, what? Dexterity and I'd be able to do that much quicker. So there we go. So that's the basics of our design, and I think that looks nice. But we need to finish this off in 2 different areas. Okay. So we've double stuffed at the base 2 colours. So I think what we need to do now is to double stuff. I'd like a 160Q size to just finish off a little bit in between these 2 areas.
So you're not going to use a collar?
Collar would be out of proportion. Okay. So I could use a collar, but it'd be quite small. I'd quite like to use a star shape. Okay. To just finish it off design-wise.
All right, let's do that.
Fantastic. The only problem is we've got to double stuff 260Q with a 160Q, and
Okay, well, let's give it a go. Do you need me to do anything here?
Yeah, that's why I said the only problem.
Oh, I see. You're saying I'm a problem?
Not at all, not at all. So I've got a 260Q because it's almost, you can do it, but it's almost impossible to put a 160 inside a 160.
Okay, yeah.
So I've got a white 260 and a wild berry 160. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place that in.
So that just slides in easily?
It slides in easily. If it does get stuck, I mean, this one will actually just slide all the way. If it does get stuck, what you could do is grab the outer, grab the inner. As long as you've got the 160 on the inner, you can pull it all the way to the end.
I see, okay, yeah.
Once you've done that with this technique, it's really important then to make sure the 160 settles all the way down to the end and there's no creases in there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? Okay. So, I have my 160Q pump.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to ask you to do, Greg, is if you can hold on to both balloons near the end.
Have I got them both? I think I've got them both.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stretch out, not overly stretch out, but stretch out to just over a foot. And then I'm going to start to inflate. And as I inflate, we're going to slowly move away from each other, yeah? And that way, we just aid that inflation.
Okay.
If you don't do that, you end up with a lot of pressure build up in one area.
Can I let go?
You can let go. You're getting really good, you know.
Years of practice, Mark. Filming with a professional.
Chris will be back at some point. So I'm just going to create a small flower, as we've done countless times in the past. And then we can use this to do. You will notice it's a little bit more difficult to twist, but this is a fantastic technique when you want your 160Q designs to last a long time. Essentially, that's because you've got a 260Q worth of thickness of latex surrounding the 160. It's a lot harder for the air to escape.
Yeah. Now I think, do we have a BMTV Balloon Basics flower? I don't know if we have.
I'm sure we have.
I'm sure we will have if we don't.
So there's a...
Very nice.
Yep. That's all done. So what we can do is bring this back here, and then I'm just going to add these into our design, and they're repeating the colours that we've had previously.
So are both these balloons inflated with helium, or is it just the bubble?
The top two balloons, the top balloon is, this one isn't.
All right, so it's literally just the bubble.
Just the bubble that's holding it all up.
Cool.
And there we go. That's our finished piece.
Very nice. So Mark, you can't have a Christmas show without a Santa design. So I don't suppose you've got a Santa design you can show us?
Really simple Santa, and the great thing about it is that it's inexpensive to make, but it floats. A lot of the designs we do are always air-filled and base work, because we're working here, but this one floats. It's really cool.
Great.
So we're going to use our fantastic Santa.
Big Santa head, yep.
And I've pre-prepared a weight.
Yep. So that's a pyramid weight.
Yes.
Inside a balloon.
Inside a balloon, just because I like the white element to it, and it's you can make that with wrinkles down the side, make it look more like a snow base, really.
So to do that, you literally just stretch a balloon open?
Stretch a balloon open at the neck. It's quite difficult to stretch it that far unless you've got your castration tool. previous BMTV to be seen.
So what do you do if you do that? Just is it in your mouth, ready to put in? Like that?
And now just sort of hold it in your fingers and do it.
Try it.
Try it. It's not that difficult.
It doesn't require a BMTV balloon basics.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So I've attached an air-filled ho ho ho.
Okay.
For the body, which is great because it's got our sort of belt and buttons already there.
Okay.
And then, as you can see, we've just created an attachment point at the top with a 160Q and some tape there.
Yeah. Okay.
Really easy to do. So I'm just going to attach our head directly to that.
Santa keeps hitting me in the head.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Greg.
It's all right. It's all right, Mark. So this is the only one, again, filled with helium. So it's just a single balloon filled with helium, and it holds the weight of the other balloon.
Yeah. And the great thing is it all looks like it's floating, so you're adding perceived value without cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I've tied that on nice and tight at the end.
Yeah.
Now, because there's only helium in the top, we want to get rid of all the excess.
Yeah.
Always. So once that's pulled nice and tight and you've got a good seal there, let's just cut all the excess off, because all of the excess is weight.
So that would only weigh fractions of a gram or a couple of grams or something.
But it's all going to make difference. There'll be a tipping point at some point where the helium is sort of always sort of slowly escaping from the top balloon, even through the best quality balloons. Foils do go down eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
But there'll be a tipping point where the lift inside the top balloon won't lift the weight of the ribbon, the tape, the 160, and all the elements.
So that's adding float life, effectively.
Essentially, when you're doing that, it's adding float life, and it's worth doing that on all the clusters and everything else that we put on there.
Okay.
So we'll do a cluster for the neck, which is a simple full balloon cluster, but as you can see, I've removed all the
excess again.
Excess again from the necks. Okay, so that's on there nice.
Okay.
And we'll do the same. We'll add some cool black balloons for the feet. Now normally I don't wrap ribbon around a cluster, but for this design it's worth not adding the weight. So if I'm really gentle, I can do that. But I'm going to upturn the head. So if you can hold on to the head down at the bottom.
Why would you not normally wrap ribbon around?
You've got a chance of burning the neck.
I see, okay.
You've got a chance of making that a little wear and tear on the bit of the neck that's not inflated fully.
Yeah.
And that occasionally, when you see a collar where one of the balloons goes down, it's normally because somebody's wrapped something around there that's been abrasive and slowly over a period of time worn through.
Okay.
But on this occasion, I'm going to risk that by doing that gently. And there we have our basic body and snowman. Really cool.
So the great thing about a collar is you can do what I just did there, and you can adjust it and it turns the head.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
So you could leave that there if you wanted to.
Could leave that, but I wanted to show that you can actually add more character to it by adding some arms.
But what about the weight? What about?
Well, it's all a careful balancing game, but I'll show you exactly what we can do.
Okay.
We can add.
Let's move him back for a minute.
A 260 red. Now when we knock that off, we are going to remove this piece at the end, because even that is extra weight. And then I'm going to take another 5-inch inflate that. Tie that off, but then I'm going to re-inflate my neck. Okay. Bit tighter this time to tie
absolutely.
off. But now I can tie this to the end of my balloon there. And now I can remove these two necks.
Okay.
All those little bits of weight do add up. And now I can pinch, twist, and I've got a basic hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and
Perfect.
simple to do. If I then take a 160, we can add a little bit of character to the end of Santa's jacket. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap that round underneath and make a sort of collar,
Okay.
or a cuff. I don't want to create too many knots.
So you do that between the two inflated bits of black balloon.
Yeah. And then I'm going to wrap it round the back. And that's going to be the second part of the collar.
Yeah.
That second wrap I want to make nice and tight and tie that off. Just so you get that sort of effect there.
Very nice.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do, we'll size that up to our body.
Yeah.
Aiming for the waist, roughly to get the arm to waist length.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're going to join an extra one to make the two. I've pre-prepared these.
So you just literally tie the two together and snip any excess.
And then what we've got there is we've got a little bit of a gap between the two of uninflated balloon that we can use
By holding
just to wrap in. And create our character.
Just very similar to the Halloween witch that we did, isn't it?
Really similar, with just a little change on the hands and the gloves. And the best thing is we've got a number of different heads. There's a snowman head that you could do that with, but we've also got an elf.
Oh, I wish we had an elf to show everybody.
Shall I get one?
Have you got an elf to show everybody?
We could do one of those things, couldn't we? You know, the swish, and it just turns up. Ready?
Let's do a swish. Swish! Whoa! There he is. Magic happens at Christmas, Mark. So there's our elf.
Fantastic, and he's really easy to make, exactly the same. On this occasion, we've just used the Qualatex 18-inch round stomach.
Yeah.
And again, that could be personalised. So you use cameo silhouette, or personalised, and that'd be really easy to do.
That's brilliant. Mark, thank you for showing us these fantastic designs. I hope you have a very, very profitable Christmas. But from myself and from Mark, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you next time. Bye.